I made this really cute half apron recently and I also learned so many things along the way. As you can see, I did an embroidery pattern on my pocket, which is not a surprise for you if you followed us last week. This is gonna be a long one and get ready to see how to make this DIY half apron. For the base fabric, you'll need a 29 by 20 inch fabric piece and mine is cotton. For the straps, you can use the same base fabric or you can use a contrasting color like I do. I have cut two fabric pieces measuring the same size as 40 by 4 inches. I'm planning my apron with a pocket on it and for that I have cut a fabric piece measuring 16.5 by 8.5 inches. These are all the fabrics we need and everything I use is cotton. Hoping you have all the essentials, let's get right into it. I'm starting with the main fabric. My plan is to fold half an inch all around the fabric first and then another half an inch over it. But I also want all four corners as mitered corners. Keep the wrong side of the fabric facing up and this is the method I use for that. Take one of the corners and mark 1 inch away from the both sides. Using those two mark points as the folding ends, fold the pointy end towards the fabric. Give it a little press. Now refold this triangular part like this and make sure your fold is even. Give it a little press. Let's move to the next corner. Mark 1 inch away from the corner in both ways. Now using those marked points as the folding ends, fold the pointy end towards the fabric. Give it a little press. Fold this part over and give it a little press again to keep the crease. As I told you earlier, my plan is to fold half an inch all around the fabric first and then another half an inch over it. This is the reason why we mark 1 inch from all the corners. Make your measurements according to your preference. This might not be the perfect way to do the mitered corners, but this one works well for me and I think it's much easier than most of the methods. Follow the same steps for the remaining two corners as well. Once you are done with all the corners, let's move to fold the sides. Start one side at a time. Fold the side just to touch the two already folded corners. Press it from one end to the other to keep the crease. Then fold it over again just to touch the two folded corners and give it a good press from one end to the other. You can use a couple of pins to hold the fold. Now let's move to the next side. Fold the side just to touch the two folded corners and press the fold from one end to the other. Then refold it in a way to touch the two folded corners at both sides and give it a good press. As you can see, we have a mitered corner now. Follow the same steps for the remaining two sides. At this point, we have all four mitered corners set. We can now sew along the four sides to complete the main part of the half apron. I'm going to start at one of the side end points and sew along the way. Sew straight and do a little back stitch at the beginning as we always do. Keep the stitches closer to the folded end, and I would say about 1/8 inch or lesser seam allowance from the folded end. When you reach the corners, stop and raise the foot. Then pivot while the needle is down. Lower the foot and you can start to sew again. As you can see here, one of the mitered corner is properly secure now. Do the same with all the other corners. Remove the pins as you go and keep sewing till you reach the starting point. Do a little back stitch at the end and you can then trim the threads. Let me show you all the mitered corners. I think everything looks fine. Let's move to the straps, and mine doesn't have a right or wrong side. If you do, place the wrong side facing up. Then fold it in half and give it a good press from one end to the other along the fabric piece. Unfold the whole thing and fold one of the halves into two like this. To keep the crease, give it a little press along the fabric. Do the same for the other half as well. Fold the two ends of the strap about half an inch inwards like this and give it a press. Now fold the strap in half and press it along from one end to the other. Don't forget to fold the other end of the strap as well. We are going to sew along these three open sides. As we need two straps for the apron, follow the same steps for the other fabric piece as well. Before we sewing, I'm gonna unfold the two ends of both straps and trim off the ends like this. Otherwise, I feel like it's gonna show to the outside. This way it will keep things inside and will look nice and neat at the end. Once you trim all four ends, fold it again and let's start on sewing one strap at a time. Sew all three open sides. As always, do a little back stitch at the beginning and try to sew closer to the open end. Stop and pivot at the corners, and you can use pins to keep the fold if you like. Keep sewing till you reach the end and do a little back stitch at the end. Trim all threads. Follow the same steps to complete the other strap as well. With that done, we got 2 straps ready for the apron. Place the right side of the apron facing up and you are going to attach the straps to the wider side of the main fabric piece. Take one strap and attach one end of the strap to the top corner from underneath the fabric. I'll leave about 1 to 1.5 inch strap part in contact with the main fabric and use a pin to keep them attached for now. Following the same steps, attach the other strap to the other side. Make sure you are leaving the same amount of strap measures on both sides in order to keep the strap length similar at the end. Now we can sew the straps to the main fabric. I'm just going to sew a rectangular shape, or you can just make a cross shape to sew them together. Remove the pin and hold the strap and the fabric as it is and start to sew in the shape of a rectangle. Sew straight and do a little back stitch at the beginning. Stop and pivot at the corners. Since we have more fabric layers at this point, I suggest you to go a little bit slow in this part of the project. Do a little back stitch at the end and trim all the threads. Do the same for the other side as well. As you can see, both straps are properly secured, and with that done, we are almost done with our half apron. But I'm gonna need a little pocket for mine, and that's gonna be our next step. Take the fabric piece you are using for the pocket and place the wrong side facing up. Fold about half an inch from the top side and press along from one side to the other to keep the crease. Fold it over and press it again along the line. Now we are going to sew along this line, and you can use a couple of pins to hold the fold. Start with a little back stitch and keep your stitches closer to the folded end. Do a little back stitch at the end. Trim all the threads. Now place the back side of the pocket facing up and fold about half an inch from remaining 3 sides. Give it a good press along the 3 sides to keep the crease. I wanted to trim these 3 sides using pinking shears or do a zigzag stitch before I do the folding, but I totally forgot about it. It will stop the fabric from fraying with time, so I recommend you do that. After all 3 sides are folded and pressed, turn the pocket right side up. You can place it anywhere you like on the apron. I'm gonna place it in the middle like this. Place it higher or lower according to your height. After all, you need to reach the pockets comfortably. Use a few pins to place the pocket in place. We can now sew the pocket to the apron by sewing along these 3 sides, leaving the top side open. Start from one of the ends and do a little back stitch at the beginning. I'm gonna sew closer to the edge of the pocket. Stop and pivot when you reach the corners. If you only need a simple apron, you don't need to add a pocket or anything. But in my opinion, it will give a little professional look to your project. Using non-stretchy fabrics like cotton and linen will make things easier when sewing. Do a little back stitch at the end. Trim all the threads and finally remove all the pins. With that, we are done sewing our DIY half apron and I'm really happy with what I got. I personally love this embroidery pattern on my apron as well. If you want to learn how to embroider this, I will leave the link in the description. That's it for today and please subscribe to the channel to see more DIY projects. Thank you for watching and I'll join you in the next one.